there is no such thing as a heavy KTM. Heavy and KTM. A heavy KTM is an oxymoron. So please don't turn your KTM. The USP of a KTM is lightweight. The USP is power to weight ratio. By putting on so much weight, one takes away the USP of a KTM. I'm sure you'll agree, light is might. Yeah? Unless you're building a train. So, we are not building trains, we are talking about motorcycles. Light is might. Light is better. Not only in motorcycles, in human beings too. We know the eternal quest to lose weight, to become lighter, to become fitter. And once we are lighter, we become fitter, we become faster, we have more endurance, more stamina, we can go longer in human beings and in motorcycles. Less the motorcycle weighs, easier it is to handle, the quicker it accelerates, better the top end, better the fuel economy, and the faster it comes to a stop. So weight has got advantages right through the motorcycle usability band. So why would one want to load up the motorcycle to protect some plastics? I understand if you're using a Tiger, a Ducati, a BMW, where a little plastic piece would set you back by 15,000, 20,000 rupees, and probably it will take 4 months to get it. So fair enough, on those motorcycles, they weigh 250 kilos, so another 10 kilos is not going to make a difference actually, because it puts out so much power. On motorcycles like these, this is the KTM made by Bajaj in India. Parts are not that expensive. So think about it. If you can do without all that armor plating or guard rails or a compound wall, do without it. Do without it. The advantages of that lightweight far outweigh the protection we are giving these cheap plastics. Ride a light motorcycle. Weight can creep up. Just like in the human body, weight creeps up. Typically, in the 30s, it starts to creep into the 40s, and by the time into the late 40s, at least 15 kilos more. Most of the people, not all, many men and women end up adding 10 to 15 kilos in their midlife, and it creeps up before realizing, bang, somebody who was 60 is 75. I was 70, then I was 85 before I knew it, it crept up upon me. And then I did something about it, I am back. So anyway, so light is might, keep that in mind. And there is no such thing as a heavy KTM. Heavy and KTM. The heavy KTM is an oxymoron. So please don't turn your KTM. The USP of a KTM is lightweight. The USP is power to weight ratio. By putting on so much weight, one takes away the USP of a KTM. That's the beauty, the lightweight, the trellis frame, the compact engine. So utilize that USP to best effect by keeping this motorcycle light. This KTM had come with one specific problem, weight problem. It was a bit overweight, and a KTM can never be overweight. So this is how it looked when it came. It had a lot of stuff around it. It had some big bars, of course, to protect the plastic. And it had a huge metal saddle stay, a top rack, and a big top case. And a massive windscreen. This itself probably weighs a kilo. And please pardon the sniffle. I don't know, I just seem to have caught a bit of a cold, so pardon my sniffing frequently during the video, tolerate it please. The thing about aftermarket windscreens, a word of caution, windscreens are made of polycarbonate, they are soft, flexible, they are supposed to be made that way for safety reasons. They bend, they do not break into any sharp edges that can cause any damage to the rider or any other person that could be an impact with. This is acrylic, the most dangerous thing. This snaps, it can turn into a knife edge. So please, if any of you are going to invest in a visor, please invest in a brand, a proper brand. It costs a packet, worth the safety. Do not install acrylic screens. So coming back, we weighed the parts we took off the motorcycle and the few that we put on. 12.5 kilos was the weight saving. Now 12.5 kilos is luggage, generally what someone can carry on a week or 10-day trip. So that's a lot of weight to save on a motorcycle. So this motorcycle is lighter by 12.5 kilos. The rider will feel the difference. We got, like I said, we got rid of those big crash bars, the huge saddle stays, the top rack and the top case, and a ridiculously heavy and big windscreen. So these are the main things we got rid of. And what we have put on now, a Pro Spec windscreen extender. We put the stock crash guards back. These lights were already there on the motorcycle, so we fit them back here. These are highway foot pegs from Pro Spec. The rider wanted somewhere to stretch his leg, so this is a Pro Spec addition. A carbon racing saddle stay. These are the best in the market. They are light, strong, they look good, and they serve the purpose. No top case, no top rack. Yes, the top case has a utility value, but this one, this itself weighs 3 kilos and it's hanging a foot off the back of the motorcycle, making the front light. And even if we put in 2 or 3 kilos of stuff, I think 6 kilos is what is recommended at the end of the back of the motorcycle. It is going to squat the rear and get the front up and make the front very light. Better to do without it. And then Motorex oil change. It was running on Motul. There is a perceptible difference in engine vibration, noise, gear shifting, and engine temperature. Motorex does make a difference. We have checked repeatedly. Everybody who uses it is convinced it is better than Motul. Motul is good, no doubt about it. This is at a different level, of course, and that is why it costs a little more too. It is now ready for adventure. Oh yeah, and this, an insulation, a silicone insulation, so that the saddlebag, just in case it doesn't get till here, if it does, there is protection for it. So that's the mods. 12.5 kilos lighter, a better adventure, a better 390 KTM adventure. This motorcycle belongs to Dodda. He is a Royal Enfield, or was a Royal Enfield user for many years. Had a Machismo 500, then an Electra, and then he also had a Bonneville. He had a Bonnie for quite a while, and then the adventure bug bit, and it took him a while where to go, which way, which model. Didn't want to get into those big, heavy, big brands. He wanted something light and fast, and that's a no-brainer in my opinion. So he picked up this used KTM. He picked it up with all that armor I just mentioned and got it done this way. He's taken it for a small ride. Of course, he'll be going on longer rides now. So he will just share what the transition from the other motorcycle to this, what are the first things he noticed. And then you've been on a 4,000 kilometer trip to run and back, run of Kutch and back. So there are 4,000 kilometers. So he's ridden this 4,000 kilometers, so he's well qualified to share how the transition and what are the salient points of this KTM 390 adventure. Over to you, Dodda.
So the important thing the first thing, the important thing about this cycle after the Machismo, after the Electra, after riding borrowed Himalayan, after the Bonneville, and all those bikes is that feels like a bicycle. In terms of a weight, feels like a bicycle. 2, it's extremely responsive. And 3, I think you saw this and you commented on this when we went to Goa in the Ghats. I normally fall behind when the Ghats come up in those heavy bikes because I find it a little difficult to, in my mind, I can't do the dosa making. But with this one, I was able to actually do all of those things, right? Because it feels lighter, the brakes are responsive. I didn't feel that I would topple. It's extremely light. And that I think makes a huge difference. Makes a difference in terms of the fact that even if I go off balance, a small thing, if I'm at the edge of the road, the shoulder of the road, I don't judge the depth correctly. In a heavier bike, I would find it very difficult to balance if I sometimes do that. This I'm finding it that it's very easy, that I don't have to strain myself. That's the first thing. The second thing I think is, like I said, the responsive. It just responds. And I have been riding it also in the city. It does get a little warm, but it's not as warm as the Bonneville used to get. So I think it is possible to ride it in the city, but I wouldn't want to ride it in the city for too long, right? Because I'd be doing first, second, third, and that's not possible. Otherwise, I think on the long stretches, I found it comfortable. The suspension is great. Like you said, the weight and what it had here, it was a little rattly. It was rattling. And that the rear, the windscreen was actually a deterrent. I wasn't able to see through it because it was coming up to here. So, and it used to rattle a lot. So I think this short ride that I took now, I'm feeling a lot better. I'm able to see the road. And also with the Motor X, I don't know whether it has any connection, but the gear shift is crisper. All through in Gujarat, I was finding a little difficult to find the gears. I would be able to shift, but it wouldn't snap. So here it is actually getting positive. I know that it's there. So I think those are the things that I would talk about, and I think feels good, feels light, and with the riser and all of that, feels comfortable. So looking forward to those rides.
So there you go, from the horse's mouth. So in a small test he took now, he has seen a difference. A little more riding, a long trip or two, we'll continue to share our feedback and experiences. Till next time, take care.